Hello, Stropes here again. So today I thought I would take a moment to showcase the upgrades that I have made to my Krennic and Grand Inquisitor deck with the release of Twilight of the Republic. I've made a number of deck changes from the last list since I showcased it. Everything is still a hyperfoil or showcase that can be. So on the left there, I've got the new kind of Separatist package that I've added. The middle is just the kind of core of the deck, kind of like what makes it go around, most of which cards you've seen before if you watched my last video. And then over on the right, we're kind of at a really great spot right now before the deck size increase and jump to light speed. Right over here, we've got kind of a force package that we've been able to add to the deck just because we're still at 50 cards with 3 sets in. So you're kind of able to kind of focus in more on some traits that you might not have otherwise been able to focus on as much because they wouldn't be as consistently drawn in your deck. When we go up to the 80 size increase, I think some archetypes might have a little bit of trouble till we get maybe back into set 6 or so, just because when you're jumping up to from 50 cards to 80 cards, it does make it a little bit harder as far as like if you're using a calculator to like have consistent draws for consistent things. But right now we are in the sweet spot where you can build a Mandalorian deck, a Force themed villainous deck, things like that, and have those traits all set out for you in a pretty good way that makes it pretty consistent. So I'll go over these new sections first, the kind of like force package over here, the separatist package, and then kind of run you through the kind of core middle of the deck again. But we'll kind of like showcase off the stuff as we go. So we've got a full force package. We've got a lightning, throw, choke, the return, plus the lightsaber, and every villainous force card that we can run in each slot, basically. Force Lightning, a really great card there. Doesn't get much cheaper than one. You can pick a unit and have it lose all abilities for the phase. Great to use that on like an opposing super laser technician, cards like that. Plus, we have a ton of force units in the deck, so we can also 9 times out of 10 be paying their resources to utilize that ability too. Plus, the art on that with that foiling on the lightning looks fantastic. Next card is Force Throw. So, as you probably noticed, to be able to, we are running Maul on 7, Vader on 7, Dooku on 8, although that's a bit of a misnomer in the sense that he has exploit 2, so you can get him out on 4. But printed cost of 8, we've got Palpatine on 8, and of course we've got the infamous Snoke there on 8 also. So cards like Force Throw, you can use on yourself. You see this often in Premier Constructed play, but you can choose yourself, and you can discard your own Snoke, potentially to deal 8 damage, maybe to a deployed leader, things like that. Something worth doing oftentimes. Or if someone's got one card left in their hand and you want to peel out what that is, you might be a little afraid of it. Okay to do. Less good in Twin Suns though. Force choke there. So again, we've got like so many force units. We often don't can get this out for 1. So we get that discount, and 1 cost deal 5. Pretty good. Palpatine's return synergizes quite well with the force throw that we saw a second ago. We can discard Snoke, discard Palpatine, things like that early on, and then pay 6 and get it back and actually get a bit of a discount because when Palpatine's return is looking for a force unit, any of those, it costs 8 less instead of 6 less. So you can get things that cost 6, pull them back out, but for force, you actually get a bit of pseudo ramp for that 6 that you are paying there. We are running a fallen lightsaber there, missing the foil stamp on the bottom because it's from the reprint of Spark, but still a hyper foil there. Just a great card, especially, I mean, like, you can put it on Our leader unit, Grand Inquisitor, is always a good target for that. But also, all those force units I had previewed there, because it gives you that on attack ability to deal a lot of damage out to ground units. Something a little bit more pertinent now, jump to light speed. When we get all those TIE fighters, I have to figure out another way to deal with all of them. But a great way to kill a ton of battle droid tokens, things like that. And the 3+3 is nothing to sneeze at there either. For Fifth Brother, just a great card. Played in Premiere for Grand Inquisitor, being able to get hit because of his raid ability. You can hit him, ready him, attack with him. Just a fantastic card there. Plus, being able to deal out that damage, you can put out quite a bit on people's boards unsuspectingly. Asajj, we have been able to include her. Her on attack, you're looking for a Separatist unit to give her +3/+0 on attack. And we do have, like I said, because we have not gone up to 80 cards yet, we're still at 50 cards. We're able to put in about 10 or so. I think maybe we're up to maybe around like between 10 and 15 Separatists, which is plenty to be able to get consistent hits for Asajj when we need. Plus, since it's an on attack, you can hit her with the Grand Inquisitor because her power, that buff won't be being applied until she like herself attacks. So able to swing in after the Inquisitor ability. Got Morgan Elspeth, so just another force unit from Twilight. The Restore one is okay, always nice to have it. The on attack is good. Some of these separatists over here that we'll look at in a second will be making us some droid tokens and being able to draw. Plus, her power is low enough again that she can be hit and readied with the Grand Inquisitor there. Plus, hits the Force, Imperial, and official traits, which, like with what we see here with the Emperor's Royal Guard, can matter because those Royal Guard can protect her. Got Seventh Sister, just another card from Spark made to go with the Grand Inquisitor. Great card. We've got Maul here. So we do have some underworld hits for Maul. He is a great Premier. If you play very much Premier, you're very familiar with him. I would think he comes out, ambush, overwhelm, and if that wasn't enough, you can put all of the damage that would go onto him onto someone else. So just a fantastic card there. Cool art as he's kind of coming down from that light right there. But we do have some underworld hits for him, which we'll get to once we get over there. Darth Vader. So I was kind of debating here which version to go with. Do we go with the convention one? Do we go with this one? I lean toward having like all of the cards in my deck have the same treatment. Personally, I don't like it if like one or two cards stand out, even if I may like that treatment individually, kind of on its own, if I can't like make everything visually consistent, just me personally. So I just went with the standard hyperfoil for him. Just a fantastic card. Looks so great in foil with that red light shining off on his leg. Is when played, again, just a fantastic ability to search the top 10 cards of your deck and draw out more of your villainous cards, plus ambush. Just a great card with great art on there. So you've got Count Dooku from Twilight. So he does have exploit too. So if you've got like two battle droids out, I'm also running Malevolence in this list. So it might seem a bit top heavy if you just look at the numbers, but a lot of these cards, especially after you've used Grand Inquisitor to kind of like hit them, ready them, sometimes they don't have very much health on them, and you might as well sacrifice them. To a card like Dooku or Malevolence. And Dooku's, when played, is for each damage that you exploit while you play him, you can deal damage to an enemy equal to the power of the exploited unit. So even better in this deck because Krennic will be buffing their power, that Grand Inquisitor, because he's done damage to them. So your units will be at a higher power than they would otherwise be anyway, just because of how we're playing the game. The Overwhelm is also nothing to sneeze at there. We've got Palpatine, just a fantastic top end, immediate onboard impact, something that is true of like all these last few cards, right? Dooku, immediate impact, Vader, immediate impact, Maul, immediate impact, which is really what you want to see in your large cards. You don't want to be paying for 8 for something that you need to untap with, especially because when you're that late in the game, sometimes all that's left are a few actions left. Palpatine's got a nice one played to deal 6 damage, divided as you want. Plus, if you can untap with him, the 6 Overwhelm is quite good. Supreme Leader Snoke, we have switched in over Super Laser Blast, even if Super Laser Blast might be a bit thematic with Krennic there. I think Supreme Leader Snoke just fits in better with what we're doing in the current build with cards like Palpatine's Return. You can pull him back out, and like I said, there's ways to kind of get rid of him early and then kind of pull him back out later. Just a fun card with a, I think, fun ability, kind of the mass debuff to your opponent stuff, like you see a Star Wars Unlimited version of like Elesh Norn. So giving all your enemy non-leaders -2/-2 can really help you just lock in and close the game out at that point once you get up to him. Now this next section here are a Separatist package of cards that we're adding. Because we've got a fair amount of synergy across the different cards in the deck. For stuff like Royal Guard, we have Rune Hako and Wartime Trade Official being officials who can be protected, give the Royal Guard Sentinel, but are also Separatist units to be able to, Asajj will see them, and she's not really worth running if you're not running a suite of these cards. So some of the more kind of filler cards that we're running in some of those slots, we've just switched out with playable Separatists, and not just for Asajj, but just because they're good cards that fulfill traits that we're looking for, traits like official. So Rune Hako can give, if one of your units has died, he debuffs an enemy unit, and sometimes there's just like 1 health left on them, so you can take care of them pretty easily. Wartime Trade Official, just a nice when defeated ability to bring out some battle droids, give us a bit of early presence and potentially ramp into something like a Dooku or a Malevolence. We've got Calculating Magna Guard, just a nice Sentinel unit, a 3 cost, 3/4 is pretty good. And if something else dies, which you can kind of do on purpose, like you can ready a unit with Grand Inquisitor, run it into something, have it die, that can trigger the Magna Guard Sentinel. So you can do that. The Tri-Fighter is just good because this deck can switch modes quite well. It can, because of Grand Inquisitor and Krennic, you can play a little bit more defensively, play defensively with cards like your Magna Guard, but you can also, if you want, use the Grand Inquisitor's ability to ready and push a lot of damage, kind of give everything functionally pseudo-haste or pseudo-ambush by untapping stuff with the Grand Inquisitor, but it takes a little bit of how to play. But with stuff like the Tri-Fighter here, better when you're trying to go a little bit more aggressive because it prevents bases from being healed. That includes your own, though. But if you are trying to close something out and you're playing against like a double blue list that is trying to heal quite a bit or something, good way to kind of close it out. Also worth noting, all of these cards I've been showing have hit the number that we want to hit, that we can hit them with Grand Inquisitor to then like ready them and then attack with them. So their power is kind of based on that. Same thing with this Trade Federation shuttle here. It's got a nice one played too in this deck. If you control a damaged unit, you create a battle droid, and because the Inquisitor's often dealing damage to stuff, you will be making those droids, and you can even hit this, ready it, and hit something for 3 with that shuttle. We've got 2 cards that synergize. Where's the other one? Okay, we'll pull that one up for just a sec. So these 2 have grit, so synergize well with Grand Inquisitor 2. Again, they're hitting that 3 power threshold that we're trying to hit. If you hit them with Grand Inquisitor, they'll be untapping and then potentially like attacking for Well, you'll deal the 2 with the Inquisitor, which puts it up to 5, and then Krennic would put it up to 6. So hitting for quite a bit. Just like you can get some pretty explosive turns with both of these cards. Devastating Gunship is a constructed playable card that you see in Kira lists, but similar to what I was saying there. It's got the 3/5, it's got the grit, and if that wasn't enough, it had the when played that you can defeat an enemy unit with 2 or less HP. Vulture Interceptor is just playable 4 drop in space, being able to hit up for 4, but the on attack of giving an enemy unit -1/-1 for the face is also quite nice because when it can hit up immediately and get stuff in space that has 5 health and kind of clear it out pretty quickly, pretty efficiently. And then the last card we've got in this Separatist slot, which I had mentioned earlier, is the Malevolence, just because it's got exploit 4. So potentially you can get this out for 1 if you want to sacrifice a whole lot of stuff to it. Oftentimes, though, I think you're probably mostly playing this for 5 or 7, but mostly 5. It can really help you stabilize with its when played. You give an enemy unit -4/-0, and then it can't attack. It just says an enemy unit, so you can also do that on a pesky leader that might have just deployed. Plus, if you can start to attack with it and get that restore, it can help you out quite a bit. So in this middle section, this is just stuff that has not really changed that much from the original list. Just a whole lot of stuff that can be readied with Krennic that can hit stuff. We've got a Imperial package kind of here in the front, Imperial traded units, and then we go into kind of like the more I would say filler, but still good cards, stuff like Caliban Enforcer, some Underworld units and things like that toward the end. But we can go through that here. We've got the Royal Guard. I don't think I had a copy of this in Hyperfoil when I was doing my last deck showcase, so happy to have that. We have quite a few officials in the list, and they help us quite a bit. You can also hit them with Inquisitor if you need. Dr. Pershing, a great card draw engine to be able, even in an emergency, you can hit him with Inquisitor, tap him, untap him, and draw. We got First Legion Snowtrooper. That Overwhelm, always great, especially when stacked with Krennic's power buff. Seasoned Shore Trooper, nice card to get out early, attack in with it, and then get a power bonus when you start to resource up later. Scout Bike Pursuer, one of the uh, original Grand Inquisitor kind of like main deck cards there. Being able to hit them, untap them using the grit, they can get quite out of hand. Inferno 4 helps us dig. I think we've got, we're still like in the 2 costs here. I think we're at around between maybe like 11 and 13 turn 1 plays, which is plenty with your free mulligan. But Inferno 4 especially also helps you start to dig through your deck. Scanning Officers. Great into enemies that play smuggle stuff, especially first turn in the game. People, if they got like hot shots, things like that. Good to reveal those. Plus, the official tag is relevant there. Same thing here with you layering in the official tag. We don't have like a ton of green units, but we've got enough that getting a few of those heals off is nice. Plus, the official tag is something we want. Client, another official, a good enough card by himself. Official is just kind of the gravy on top, but being able to untap, you can even ping the shield off, get that off with him quite early, especially if other people have claimed, and you got some kind of free actions, free later. You can like untap him, give something a bounty, then like run into some other thing and kind of heal that 5 damage out of nowhere sometimes. Whoop. Wouldn't be a deck showcase if I didn't drop at least at least one card. At least one card. Okay, we've got the Super Laser Tech. I also don't think I had a hyperfoil of this in my last. That green just looks so great. But easy ramp, easy peasy ramp. You use Grand Inquisitor to kill him, sacrifice him as fodder, to kind of like ramp on that turn. I'm not running resupply, just because I don't I don't know, the Hera and the Sabine art doesn't really fit an Imperial themed deck, but a Super Laser Tech definitely does. So that's the ramp we're running here. We've got a cell block guard, just a nice small Sentinel. Wonderful, kind of like cool angle on that. I am running, I did cave, even though this is not a hyperfoil. The phase 3 Dark Trooper is just too good to skip over, to not run. It's an Imperial, it's a Trooper, it's doing what we want to do, and it's just a great, kind of fantastic card. Plus, great to pull out with Raider. Just everything about it is good. Unfortunate that we do not have a Surge or a hyperfoil of it. I think it's probably the only non-foil in the deck besides the base. But that's just how it'll have to be till we get a foil version of it. Got Death Trooper, one of my favorite cards in the game. The art, everything about it, the interplay, try and kill stuff, like a Necrotal kind of ETB effect. Just love that kind of thing. Next, we got a TIE Advance, so we do have quite a lot of Imperial units, but also both of our leaders are Imperial, so like worst case scenario, we need to buff Krennic or buff Grand Inquisitor, just fine to do that. Imperial Interceptor, a card I think that will be better once we get to jump to light speed. It's got a wind play to deal damage to space units. Space has been a little underdeveloped in both Premiere kind of and in Twin Suns, I think, just because a lot of the cards are filler. There's a lot of great ground units, especially like in Twin Suns when you're going up and trying to build something like that and you've got access to all those colors. But I think with jumps to light speed, it'll be pretty fun to see all of those, space coming into its own and kind of filling out decks, and maybe, having those numbers be a bit more balanced out than they currently are. The Interceptor will be getting better the more space units we see. We've got Childson here, so fine to play him as a 3/3. And then be able to buff him up with Krennic and a Grand Inquisitor, make him into 4 power. But we do have a plenty of blue stuff in the list. You can make him larger if you would like, but just another Sentinel, another official. We've got Callus. Used to see quite a lot of play very early on in set one's meta before we got some more of the other cards spoiled when people were playing with the whole set, before the whole set had released on TTI and stuff like that. But still a good card. You got some card draw, plus he's ambush, so he does something as soon as he comes out, although he's a tad bit, I think you could say, overcosted, but still fine, still good. We got a Hilo Bond in Forcer, so now we're getting into kind of the what's left, just stuff that's just generally good stuff to be running in a GI build. But also, I mean, these Underworld units are hits for Maul when you get Maul out, even though he's part of the Force package. We also got Pike Sentinel. As you can tell, we have quite a few Sentinels. So even though we're, that's why I talked about this deck being able to kind of like switch modes. You can play a little bit more defensively, but also a lot of these cards you can hit and ready and also be attacking with them if you'd like. And being able to switch those modes, I think, is part of the power of the deck. Deathwatch Loyalist, just a great grit, cheap grit. Plus, it's got Overwhelm, so you can hit the base for quite a bit. Cloud City Wingguard, just kind of another generic Sentinel, but a little bit of filler because not really any traits that we care about. We've got the Punishing One, so just a nice card in Twin Suns too, because it's upgraded ability to, ready when an upgraded enemy is defeated is a little bit more pertinent when you've got 3 more 3 more enemies that you're facing. You got Sonara San, just a good grit unit. You do have to be careful with their bounty at certain points in the game because people can do that to your base. But if you are especially good at politicking, sometimes you can get around that. We've got Kersantin, another underworld here. Oftentimes people will have the bounties. We're not running any main deck bounties, but you'll see like Hylo Bonds, you'll see Quavian antagonizers, cartel, turncoats, things like that. So sometimes you'll see them. You'll at least it might depend a little bit more on your meta, but not uncommon. And plus the on attack ability, kind of similar to the Fifth Brother. Just a good card to be running in a GI build because of the low power, but the on attack ability is still good. Puts out quite quite a bit of damage. System Patrol Craft, again, another kind of filler card like the Cloud City Wing Guard, but still Sentinel 3/4, so it can be hit with our leaders and get those bonuses. And is, fine to be running. Clan Challengers here, 3 power, raid 3, and while upgraded, you get the Overwhelm. We don't have a ton of upgrades to be able to give to it. We can give them a lightsaber if you want, but then you also can't ready them with Grand Inquisitor. But just a nice top end to be able to hit and ready. You can't do the kind of combo, like Premier combo, because we're running Krennic, where you can do like 15 damage. But to be honest, I don't know if you really need to be able to do that. Plus, yeah, I don't know. I don't think most play groups, I don't think would let you untap and get away with that. They'd either kill your challengers or kill your Grand Inquisitor, so you can't like attack, tap him, ready them, attack, play your Inquisitor, attack with the Inquisitor, ready them again, hit them again. Most play groups, at least that I'm a part of, aren't just going to let you run away with the game. So we do miss out on a bit of those kinds of plays, but at the I think the bonus is we have a little bit more kind of consistent um, being able to switch between the kind of more control oriented approach and then like aggression when we need to. And then I think last but not least, we've got my channel thumbnail image, my favorite card in the game, still my favorite card in the game. And this art is just so great in hyperfoil. We've got overwhelming barrage there. So those are my updates for now. I'll put a link below in the description, maybe down here, although I think like maybe they pop up there. So I'll put one around somewhere. I'll post it in the description. I'll try and get a link to pop up there too, so that you can just click on the list, look it over. Let me know what you think. If there's changes you would make, let me know if you are as excited as I am about Jump to Light Speed. I'm really, like I said, looking forward to seeing like all the space units. I do think there's a little bit of a trade-off though, in that like decks like this that work out pretty well right now, because you can get like a kind of critical mass of force units and a critical mass of like separatists. When the deck size increases as it does, that's going to mess with a lot of deck math, especially if if the numbers, you need a certain critical mass of the force units, you need a certain amount of some other stuff. So I'm sure we'll get that to some degree with like Imperials, based on like what we've seen so far. But if you're going like with some of the kind of really specific subtypes like Force units and especially Mandalorian units, I think some of those decks you might have to adjust a little bit. But that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed seeing these cards as much as I have enjoyed making this deck and putting it all together. I'm looking forward to adjusting these lists. I will be doing some spotlight, turning the spot. I had done starter deck upgrades where I upgraded like the Ahsoka deck, the Grievous deck, and I'll definitely be doing that for the Spotlight decks. I've already got lists made up. I'm just waiting a little bit on some more of the spoilers to come out before I like post, in case there's a few changes that need to be made. But I've already got the list drafted up with the cards that we've got so far from Jump to Light Speed in the first 3 sets, plus the leaders all planned out and everything. So be on the lookout for those. I'll post some how to turn your Spotlight decks into a Twin Suns deck as soon as we're done with spoiler season. But that'll be it for now. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.